The audio you're about to hear was recorded in Anchor. Learn more at anchor.fm.
You're listening to Pretty Dece, the bite-sized audio blog about games, comics, movies, and more, featuring news, reviews, opinions, and impressions. So if you're a geek, we hope you think it's Pretty Dece. What's up, everyone? It is March 30th, 2017, and this is Pretty Dece. I'm your host, Josh. And yesterday we talked about the Justice League trailer. We're going to keep rolling with superhero trailers. The new Spider-Man Homecoming trailer just came out this week. It's the second trailer for this movie, and boy, is it a doozy. Just some backstory. Spider-Man is definitely my favorite comic book character of all time. I've always been a huge Spider-Man fan. I always look forward to the Spider-Man movies. It's been a really sad thing that Marvel didn't have the Spider-Man character until now. We've got a couple different takes on Spider-Man as a movie franchise. And, I think both had their merits. They both had really good stuff going on in them. But they both, in different ways fell short. And I'm really hoping that Spider-Man Homecoming here kind of captures what the Spider-Man character is better than the other two Spider-Man franchises have so far. So the Homecoming trailer 2 here, this the second Homecoming trailer, it opens and we get to see a really cool shot of Spider-Man putting on the suit. So instead of, just wearing it under his clothes or whatever, he kind of puts it on, it's loose, and then he presses a button and cinches up tight. I think that's a really cool way to handle, wearing a superhero suit, and how, logistically that's not really the easiest thing to wear in real life. One of the big things people have been saying about this trailer in a negative light is that it gives too much away of the actual plot of the movie. I don't think that's a real problem. I think that they needed to kind of come out and tell you what this movie was about, because up until now, it hadn't been super clear. So you can kind of get a feel for what they're going to do with this movie. And I think it will still have some surprises up its sleeves. I think there are definitely some big things in the movie that we don't know. We do know that Donald Glover is in the movie. I'm a huge fan of Donald Glover, from, Community, from Atlanta, from rapping as Childish Gambino. We don't know what character he's playing. We don't know what he's doing. So, as I said, I think there are definitely still some surprises here. So, don't go into this thinking, oh man, I'm gonna be completely spoiled for the entire movie. For me, at least, it made me a lot more excited about the movie as a whole. One of the things I really like about what they seem to be doing in this trailer and what they seem to be doing in this movie is that they are taking Spider-Man back to really the core of what this character is. And that being a young high school kid that gets thrust into a situation that is way over his head, way beyond his means. And, he has to keep up through sheer force of will. And really we find out kind of the mettle of the character. We find out how much of a man he is and what he can actually sort of rise up and do. And really, that's sort of Peter's superpower. It's his heart, and it's his unwavering positivity. It is his ability to see light in the darkness, more than, the fact that he has the proportional strength and speed of a spider. It's that he can kind of keep that humor, and he can bounce around, and he can stay at that level. So this movie takes us back to high school. We get some really classic, super nerdy Peter scenes. That was one of the things that the Andrew Garfield movie kind of failed at. Peter came off as kind of way too cool. And in this one, I think Tom Holland is really pulling off, at least in the trailer so far, that I'm kind of a nerd, I'm staring at the pretty girl across the cafeteria, and I would never dream of talking to her. So they really seem to be nailing that. And I love that, in this iteration, the second that he gets powers, his best friend finds out. That's how real life would work, right? You wouldn't be able to keep it a secret from the people closest to you. So it's really cool that his best friend knows. I'm really liking the interaction in this trailer between Peter and Tony Stark. I always liked when Tony kind of was a father figure to Peter in the comics. cause that's kind of a push and pull relationship. You know, Tony is not, he's not a stand-up father by any means. He is full of himself. He's arrogant. He's reckless. He's a bad example. And, you know, Peter still ends up looking up to him, you know, throughout the history of the comics. So that is an interesting relationship. Peter ends up becoming sometimes the conscience of Tony Stark, while Tony Stark is providing him guidance about a world that he doesn't know anything about. And we get a taste of that in this film. In fact, we come to find out that Tony takes away the Spider-Man suit. He just takes it, has to take it back, and tells him in one of the funnier lines in the trailer, "Can't you just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?" I thought that was a really cool drop in there. And of course, we talked about, you know, Spider-Man having heart. In the trailer, he continues to fight in a hoodie. Like he has his suit taken away, but he knows that he still has a responsibility, and he puts on a hoodie and he keeps going out there. And that's super cool. He says the line, you know, the guy is still out there, I've just got to do this on my own. And I think that really like sums up Peter Parker as a resilient character. Will always put others ahead of himself, and he knows that he has the power and the responsibility, if you will, to go out there and do what's right. I think the other big standout in this trailer is, I think Michael Keaton as the Vulture is going to steal this show. From the first trailer, he seemed super, super promising, and this trailer, yeah, he continues to be terrifying, menacing, while also very engaging. It seems like he's a champion of the 99% in this movie. He talks about, you know, those like Stark and not leaving anything for us. He really seems to be like he's positioning himself as this champion of the people, but, you know, at the same time, he's dangerous. The line from the first trailer that is also present here that I think is, continues to be chilling, just absolutely chilling, is when he, presumably talking to Peter, says, "Don't mess with me because I will kill you and everybody you love." And that, oh geez, in a Marvel movie of all things, that's bone chilling. And, you know, I think the Vulture delivering that line is really cool, and I think Michael Keaton he sells that line in such a way that many, many actors would not be able to do. So really, really cool seeing Michael Keaton in this role, and I'm very excited to see kind of his take on the Vulture. Speaking of his take on the Vulture, from the trailers, if you kind of like look at some very quick scenes that are happening here and there, it seems that we are getting some sort of variation on Shocker, the classic Spider-Man villain Shocker. There actually seem to be a couple different versions of Shocker in this trailer. One guy has the kind of Shocker outfit with the white, kind of quilted padded arms, or I'm sorry, the yellow quilted padded arms, and he's carrying a kind of a Shocker gun. And then the second guy again has the yellow quilted arms, and he actually has the more classic sort of, arm cannons that Shocker would wear. That's the scene where he fights Peter, he throws Peter into the school bus. You know, Shocker is one of my favorite characters. I've always really, really liked that look of a character. I thought Shocker always looked super menacing. I love the idea of those kind of big arm cannons. You know, I like the idea of a guy who's just like super smart and didn't do the right thing with it. Instead, he decided to build these crazy arm cannons and go, you know, rob banks and stuff. So it seems like they're doing a kind of a different take on Shocker. It's going to be more of a Vulture henchman in this case. But I'm really excited to kind of see what they do. I'm really excited to see, you know, are all of Vulture's henchmen essentially Shockers? Like, do they all sort of wear that outfit and have some sort of electricity gun? Is that a subplot in the movie about, you know, who is Shocker? Is there something else going on there? Very excited to kind of see where that goes. So yeah, I'm beyond stoked for this movie. Very, very, pumped to see it when it comes out in theaters. I cannot wait. Yeah, I love Spider-Man and I cannot wait. So, you know, for me, it seems like Spider-Man Homecoming is going to be pretty decent. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece today. Thank you for indulging me gushing about Spider-Man, one of my favorite characters of all time, and about the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer. If you like the show, please consider calling in and give me your take on the Homecoming trailer. Give me your take on anything we've talked about this week. Let me know what you're liking in games, comics, movies, anything like that. I would love to hear from you. You can do that by clicking on the call-in button from inside the Anchor app. Also, please make sure you favorite the show inside Anchor so you don't ever miss an episode. Be sure to like the show on Facebook. You can find that at facebook.com/PrettyDeceShow.